guys, today I'm going to be doing a quick video on what I have found to be the best console settings in the Elder Scrolls Online. These are settings that will dramatically improve gameplay for both PVE and PvP. They will increase console performance so the game is smoother. They can help you do better in combat, and they offer the cleanest UI that you can have in the game. This will be coming from the perspective of PlayStation, but even if you play on Xbox, the in-game settings are essentially the same, so it will still be helpful for you and easy to follow. Please feel free to use the timestamps in the description to jump around to whatever you need. The first tip is an external setting, and it's arguably the biggest game changer that you can do, which is rerouting the bar swap button. By default, bar swap is on the D-pad, meaning anytime you bar swap, you have to lift your left thumb from the joystick. Having to do this means you actually lose the ability to continue moving your character. So what we'll do is change the bar swap button, and there are two ways to do that. If you are using a regular PlayStation 5 controller, go into the PlayStation menu and into Settings. Click Accessories, Controller, General, scroll all the way to the bottom and click Controllers. Here you select Custom Button Assignments and you will enable Custom Button Assignments. All you have to do on the screen is go down to the left D-pad button and change this button to L3. What this means is that now anytime that you press L3, you're inputting what the left D-pad does. So now you can bar swap with L3. So now you can see that if you press forward with L3 to walk, you simply need to push in L3 to bar swap, and your character keeps moving the entire time. It never stops. You can do stuff like jump and swivel your camera and bar swap all at the same time. This is obviously great for PvP in terms of movement speed, but it's also great for PvE in terms of doing faster DPS. The second way to reroute the bar swap button is with the PlayStation DualSense Edge controller, and this is what I use. It's a PlayStation controller and it comes with paddles that you can put on the back of the controller. To route these, go to Settings and under Accessories, select DualSense Edge. Create Custom Profile and Custom Button Assignments. Here you select the left back paddle and change it to the left D-pad. So now anytime that you want to bar swap, you can keep your hands rested on the joysticks and swap bars from the back of your controller using another finger like your middle finger. This makes it the fastest bar swap that you can do in the game, which, as you can imagine, is a total game changer. Another change I have here is that my right back paddle is now L3. So instead of pressing down and holding L3 to sprint, I simply push forward with L3 to move, click the back right paddle once, and it toggles sprint. So as long as I continue moving forward, I never have to hold down anything for sprint. It stays toggled on. This is also great for sprinting on your mount because you only have to click the back right paddle once and your mount will keep moving. In terms of in-game settings, obviously everything is a personal choice, but for each category, I will strongly point out a few recommendations. For the video tab, I recommend making the custom scale as small as possible. This allows your menus to go from this to this, so you can see a lot more at one time. Also, a lot of people don't know, but inside your menus, you can use L2 and R2 to jump up and down from category to category instead of endlessly scrolling one by one. You'll want performance mode, which means higher FPS. Fidelity mode is just for taking pictures in the game. If you don't see HDR options in here, you don't have an HDR compatible TV or monitor, and I would really recommend that you get one. I play on vibrant mode and the game looks absolutely beautiful. For audio, there is a trick that is helpful for PvE. It is very common that in dungeons, NPCs will give combat cues via audio, meaning right before you're supposed to do a mechanic, 90% of the time an NPC will hint at it.
My sight will pierce your fragile soul.
So if you turn on NPC subtitles and you can turn up dialogue volume as well, you will never miss that cue because it will pop up in writing on your screen. For gameplay, you'll want combat cues on and custom colors on. Select a very bright enemy color such as hot pink, and then bad AoEs will then be a lot easier to see so you don't stand inside of them. Quick cast ground abilities needs to be on. Automatic or off means that you have to use the skill twice, so when this setting is set to on, you only have to hit the button once. Camera has some very important changes. The biggest mistake I see almost everyone doing is that they have screen shake turned on, but you should actually turn this option off. Not only does this create a cleaner, more stable camera view, but I strongly believe it helps FPS, especially in Cyrodiil. Turn your camera sensitivity all the way up so you can spin your camera faster. For the third-person POV, you should also turn it all the way up so you can see more around you, which is a lot more helpful in combat. If you play in first person, then just delete your game. For the interface, I don't really know why people prefer character name. People are constantly changing characters and have really weird names, so when something like BRETONBUTTSNIFFER is suddenly the first thing I see on my screen, I really don't know who that is. Nameplates are very important, and people are extremely opinionated about them. Personally, I am a very big fan of visibility, and I generally think people overdo it with nameplates and it clusters their entire screen. If you want a cleaner field of view, turn off title, turn off guild tabard, and never show self. Why do you need to know your own name, your own title, and your own guild? Like, do you forget who you are? Most people have group nameplates on. I am personally very aware of who's around me, so I'd rather have these things off my screen, but I would recommend that most people turn group nameplates on, especially for trials. Friendly NPCs, turn that to never, and friendly players never as well. I do not want 50 names of friendly players who can't even attack me to be popping up on my screen in a Zerg and Cyrodiil. The only ones you absolutely need are enemy NPCs and enemy players. If you do any tanking in PvE, these nameplates are very helpful when you enter a room, so you can prioritize certain ads and not miss any when you chain. For enemy players in PvP, this is also very helpful because you can see people who are otherwise concealed by structures like rocks or pillars. There are a lot of times I've noticed people around corners when I couldn't even see their character because their nameplate was sticking out. Health bars on, just not for self. I do use health bars on group members, that's kind of my replacement for group nameplates. For friendly players, I use injured so they only pop up on my screen if they need a heal. And of course, on for enemy players. For indicators, I only use enemy, meaning I never show symbols from my own alliance, and my reasoning is this. If there's something over someone's head, especially if they are far away and you can't quite decipher what it is, you know that it's an enemy. Again, a way to clean up the screen when there are huge Zergs around you and you don't need excessive symbols. For the target markers, which are the symbols that you can give people, you want those as small as possible as well. In the social tab, I love profanity, so I turn the filter off. Leaderboard notifications off, so you don't have 50 notifications every day to delete. The AVA announcements, like when someone picks up a scroll, that should be automatic. If you have a guild that claims a castle in Cyrodiil, you will want these alerts on so you can see if the keep is getting attacked before it actually flags. And as much as you might not like the PvP kill feed in terms of clutter, it is very helpful to keep this on so you can tell who is around you, like a bomber who just got a kill nearby, or for example, to check if everyone from a group just got killed or if someone got away and is going to put up a camp. Next, for combat settings, you should have everything turned on in the first section. Resource numbers and % are important as well, so you can tell when someone is in execute or see certain health thresholds that will trigger mechanics in dungeons. If your internet connection is awful, I would suggest turning combat text off. Incoming damage over time is also not necessary. For buffs, you want them on, especially debuffs. These debuffs are really important, like for example, Dreadsail Reef Last Boss, when you get the Deluge debuff and you need to know when to get in the water. Target debuffs are important if you're tanking in PvE, so you can track your taunt and your taunt timers on your enemies. That wraps it up for my settings guide for the Elder Scrolls Online, and hopefully this helps my fellow console plebeians out there. If you have different suggestions or feedback on these tips, feel free to write them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Cheers.